Hello to you. My name is Jessie Johnson. This is about death, dying, and the breath of the eternal. True perfect realization deals with and covers everything, even death. And true realization covers everything right now. The only time is now. There's no other. The past, present, future is only in your head. They are necessary mental tools used to survive. Without a past and future, there can be no present. If this is about death, realization is sufficient to deal with it. Religious dogma invents a future in this world and after body death, where things hoped for in this life is eternalized. Some fantasize that everyone will physically resurrect after body death. Some fantasize self-fulfillment in some vague heaven. The actual world is mortality land, made of temporary and transient things. This includes body, mind, and spirit. After physical body death, or the first life field's death, the second life field remain inactive for a very short while, after which it starts to move away from the body or first life field. I know this to be true from seeing it with my own eyes. The process of meditation is to remove the ego and move you into consideration of the bad karma you are continuously producing without knowing, in body, mind, thought, feelings, and spirit. What is karma at base? A mechanical law of physics states, to every action of A on B, there is an equal and opposite reaction of B on A. The life law of karma states, for every action of life, mental, physical, mind, feelings, emotions, deeds, desires, works, actions of all forms, there's an equal and opposite reaction to the life complex. When death comes, and it will come, with meditation there will be no fear. Even if you live 750 billion, that's with a B, billion years, you will still die. Meditation, done rightly and correctly, brings one to be free of all suffering, with the highest and deepest understanding of liberation. The actual world is not a fantasy paradise where you can stay forever. The actual world is where everything changes, every 100 trillionth, that's with the T, trillionth of a second, where everything and everyone passes away. Happiness and unhappiness are two sides of the same coin, and one can never be without the other. And no one can be satisfied, content, true, mature, fulfilled with anything less than infinite, absolute truth, true, eternal, true, perfect, divine, supreme, non-ego, ultimate self-realization. Death and dying techniques only deceptive, falsely console and relax you about death. Nothing has power to change death, not crying, praying, God, or the like. Pure spiritual energy cannot be manipulated or used by humans. It is where life negativity is impossible. You cannot go any further after death than your own karma dictates. When you can't escape physical death, of which you can't, you try to escape psychic death, which is meaningless. When all your resistance drops to death, you realize the ecstasy of the endless unfolding of actuality existence. If you're intelligent, you allow it while alive. Then you need not defend against physical or psychic death. They become a zero to you. You cannot get out of life alive. To continue, So realize the living divine reality, the eternal divine supreme self-condition. Death is important to the mind because the mind defends the ego, and the ego is based on time-space reference, necessary mental tools. They do not exist in and of their self. The ultimate is of no time, space, yet is the case. It is now. A real infinite amount of nows will not produce time of any duration, including zero. The ultimate process is about true realizing the perfect supreme dimension, divine, no time, space condition. All people who are living, except for the true spiritually awake, are dramatizing the psychology of dying, which is the first stage, outright refusing to be responsible in and to life by being oblivious to life, not wanting to deal with realized life, which is and becomes denial. The second stage is getting angry and reactive, subtle and grossly, searching, seeking, and bargaining with life. Depression in all its forms is the characteristic mood of the multi-billions because of this. To continue. Using distractions, the billions using distractions of every kind, amusements of every kind, and consolations. All of this is the psychology of dying, not of the truly alive or someone who is oriented to the process of true realization of ultimate divine. Instead of being truly alive, every one of you have invested in yourself in the psychology of death or dying, while denying the actuality of death deep within, in the form of denying, anger, bargaining. This produces subtle, destructive contraction from life relationships. Self-contraction is slow death on all levels. People who are intolerant of spiritual matters are the most misled of all. Where will you get answers? The truth, books, the ego, your own self's unseen madness? The popular notion is that it's within you. No, it's not. The you just referred to is the problem, is the suffering, is the misery, is the blindness. The very thing and process that must be transcended. The truth comes from only one place. There is no other. Truth comes from spiritual, adept realizers. There is nothing greater than the force of death. Death, your death, and every single person's death is a serious and profound matter. What is this about? Ego death, going beyond the ego. It's about ego transcendence, going beyond the false sense of being a separate entity apart from the whole, which is a mental constructed illusion based on false premises and false conclusions. The most extreme valuable life to live, of all lives to live, is to live a spiritually awakened life. Every other life lived is a horrendous death lived and isn't fit for humans. Mortality has a certain level of suffering. Body life is brief. You must realize the deathless to go beyond suffering. It's not about accepting a bunch of words or beliefs, no matter how pretty. To go beyond the binding force of mortality. Living, experiencing, dying, and death is a continual, a single process. 5,000 years from now in the future, you will have died 5,000 years ago. And renunciation is the only way to the deathless. Renunciation of the ego, of negative selfishness. Not the renunciation of life, no. It is to know the supreme non-ego, non-I, non-me. The supreme being, dimension, divine. For death is an aspect of the total immortality is to be found in purification of the heart, in meditation, in true realization of the self-radiant. Immortality is to realize union with supreme being dimension. Humans are composed of breath, deeds, thoughts, food, air, 18 senses, and more. All of this and more deriving their existence from the supreme, transcendental, ultimate omni. All comes from the ultimate dimension and disappear. The physical body and the physical universe and all objects, subjects, and processes of the 18 senses are emanations, manifestations of the self-existent, self-radiant being. To know things, actions, activities, and processes mechanically is not enough. Knowledge of things, acts, events, and relations. Wisdom is the transcendental supreme divine alone, which includes all and is beyond all things, acts, events, and relations. The supreme divine is not one, not two or more, and not zero, abiding forever. To dissolve this ego, become one with this wisdom. Humans in true unawareness identifies with only the material body. It is the madness of the mind that's the problem, not the body. Transcending this state, one becomes one with pure bliss. The pure transcendental bliss is the source, substance, and beyond the ends of the physical universe, whose nature is non-personal, non-human, non-life death, pure transcendental consciousness. From this comes all appearances, substance, sensations, desires, deeds, works, stars, earth, all physicalities and non-physicalities. All of these are mere name tags and shapes, substantiated energy forms and other forms. You must apprehend this so to begin to escape suffering, misery, sorrow, and death, and go beyond all knowledge. The Supreme Being is the origin of all, including love and hate, all good, all evil of all levels, all joy and all misery, all happiness and unhappiness, all life and death. All knowing, knowledge and ignorance, but not beyond meditation. The Supreme is all and transcends all. So in meditation, watching and witnessing the ego to the most subtlest of the subtlest, every thought has a false sense of self with it. Watch every self point. Watch the false self, not the rest. Meditation can be learned. With practice, it can lead to realization of the true eternal, without attributes, ineffable, beyond language and any communication. It is the only way to escape death. I want to thank everyone. It is the only way to escape death. I want to thank everyone for listening and watching. Share this video, please, and have a very good day.